Seeds of redemption. The door slammed shut behind me, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the sterile corridor of the Agricultural Research Institute. "You've betrayed our trust," the director had sneered, his words cutting deeper than any blade. I stood there, heart racing, a whirlwind of disbelief and anger swirling within me. I had dared to expose the unethical genetic modifications they were using, dared to stand up for what was right. And now I was cast out, stripped of my identity, my dreams, my entire future. In that moment of brutal rejection, I felt like a ghost wandering through my own life, invisible and unwanted. But beneath the ache of humiliation, a fire ignited. It was time to prove them wrong, to reclaim my purpose. I would turn to the very thing they dismissed as hobbyist nonsense: urban farming. They laughed at the idea of growing food in crumbling city corners, but I was determined to transform that laughter into applause. The first few months were a blur of dirt-stained hands and sleepless nights. I found an abandoned lot behind my apartment building and set to work, fueled by a relentless obsession. My neighbors watched, some with curiosity, others with disdain. "You'll never make anything of this," they'd say, but I was undeterred. I poured my heart into building vertical gardens, stacking planters high against the walls, coaxing life from concrete. Each seed I planted felt like a small act of rebellion, a step toward reclaiming my narrative. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. I faced setbacks that would have crushed a lesser spirit. My first batch of tomatoes devoured by pests before they even ripened. Equipment failures turned my dreams into mud and tears. Yet with every failure I learned, I studied, I adapted, and I pushed forward. The ridicule that once stung became my fuel, propelling me to innovate. I experimented with drip irrigation and companion planting, each small victory breathing life into my vision. Then one crisp morning, as the sun broke over the city skyline, I stood before my vertical garden, now a lush tapestry of greens and reds. The neighborhood had begun to change. What was once a forgotten lot was now a vibrant hub of community life. Children played nearby while families gathered to harvest the bounty of what was once a barren space. It was no longer just a garden, it had become a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope. As word spread, I was invited to speak at local events, sharing my journey from rejection to redemption. The very people who once laughed at me now sought my guidance. I became a voice for sustainable urban agriculture, a champion of change in a world desperate for it. My passion had turned into a movement, and the laughter of my past became the applause of my present. The real triumph, however, came when I received an unexpected invitation. The very institute that had cast me aside wanted to host a conference on sustainable practices, and they wanted me as a keynote speaker. My heart raced as I accepted. It was time to confront my past. Standing at that podium, I looked out at the sea of faces, many of whom had once doubted me. I shared my story, my struggles, and the vibrant gardens that had sprung from my determination. Their expressions shifted from skepticism to curiosity and finally to respect. I could see the seeds of change taking root in their minds, just as I had planted them in the earth. As I concluded my speech, I felt a surge of gratitude wash over me. I had not only reclaimed my narrative, I had painted a new future for my community. The laughter that once mocked me had transformed into a collective hope. I had become a testament to the power of resilience, proving that sometimes the seeds of redemption are sown in the most unlikely of places. And as I stepped off that stage, I knew this was just the beginning. My journey wasn't about proving them wrong, it was about proving that when we nurture our passions, we can grow something truly extraordinary.